All right, I will call to order the Public Utilities Commission meeting for Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. The first item on our agenda is our consent agenda. Is there any comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on that.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second item on the agenda is our Employee of the Month.
Yes, Commissioners, our Employee of the Month for October is Ross Grothwell. Ross works in the finance office for the PUC as well as the city. Ross has spent many hours attending webinars and classes to understand the new Minnesota Paid Leave Program. He's working to understand how deductions will work in our system and what regular reporting requirements are needed. He's also working to understand the pay options and requirements when they are using the leave. He's consistently making sure the city and PUC meet all the requirements as tax laws are added and changed. So I want to congratulate Ross Grothwell for Employee of the Month.
I'll make a motion to recognize Ross Grothwell as Employee of the Month for October 2025.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is governance and action. Chris?
Yes, this is an informational item for you as commissioners. MMUA is putting together a training for commissioners and leaders. The training is provided to allow commissioners to learn about any relevant laws for role clarity, navigating the relationship between the city and the PUC, utility rates, funding mechanisms, et cetera. The training is in St. Cloud on January 23rd. It's from 9 until 4 p.m. If anyone is interested, the utility will pay the cost of attendance. So if you would like to attend, please either contact myself or you could contact Joanne at our office. We can get you registered. If you do register prior to January 5th, we can get you a discounted rate. If you don't and you want to go and it's after the 5th, please still let us know, and we can get you signed up.
I'll make the motion to receive and order file the information regarding governance in action training supplied by the Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business, solar on public buildings grant.
Yes, you've seen this before. On the September 23rd meeting, you received a report on the Solar on Buildings Grant Program. And then October 28th, you approved Wolf Tract Energy as our selected vendor for the program. At that time, you did authorize the grant, the application for the grant, and then the finalization of the design and specifications. We are now at the point where the application has been submitted to the state. We did that on November 12th. We expect to hear from the state relatively soon on whether or not we will receive the 70% grant funding for the projects. This has a really tight timeline, and so due to that tight timeline, we're asking basically for authority to sign the contracts, should we be notified of receiving the grant funding, and then once the contracts are signed, a 10% down payment is going to be required in order to get to the next step by December 25th, so that we could qualify for the 30% federal, what's it called? The federal part, which would pay us 30%. So ultimately, if we get the grant and the federal portion, we could have 100% paid on this solar project.
All right, I'll entertain a motion if there's no further questions on that.
I'll make the motion to approve and authorize the city manager to sign the Minnesota state contracts for receipt of grant funding for the Solar on Public Building Program pending approval of the application from the Minnesota Department of Commerce and authorize the down payment of 10% of the project after contract execution.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 So motion carries. Next up is Beth on the schedule of fees.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We are, sorry, this needs to go down. We are asking for approval for the new schedule of fees and charges to be effective January 1st of 2026. We just have a couple departments with changes in natural gas and wastewater. The changes are listed there in your agenda item. We're having a change from on the residential service connection and installation up to 150 feet for a 1-inch service. That is changing from $600 to $800. Residential service connection and installation over 150 feet, 1-inch service, $600 plus $3 per foot over 150 feet. That is changing to $800 plus $5 per foot over 150 feet. Residential service connection and installation, 15 feet or less, assuming no main trap, that would be changing from $350 to $400. Residential garage service and reroutes up to 1 inch, less than 15 feet, changing from $350 to $400. Commercial services, minimum $600 to a minimum of $1,000. And then in the wastewater department, one-time septic tank hauler drop fee for 1,500 gallons or less, changing from $65 to $70. Westpac of Mankato Incorporated rate, 12 cents to 13 cents. And then the approved customer treatment services per contract for Watonwan County landfill disposal fee, $60 to $65. Watonwan County landfill per gallon from 8 cents to 9 cents. Great River Energy disposal fee, $70 to $75. Great River Energy per gallon, 5 cents to 6 cents. Brown County leachate treatment per gallon, 5 cents to 6 cents.
I will offer the resolution approving the 2026 PUC schedule of fees and charges to be effective January 1st, 2026.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll call the roll, right?
Commissioner Skillings,
Aye. Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bugler,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaunis,
Yes.
and President Visser.
Yes. Next item on our agenda is bulk diesel fuel. Beth, I believe that's you as well.
Yes, at the last commission meeting, we asked that to go out for bids for bulk diesel, for diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline at the City of New Ulm and New Ulm Public Utilities for fueling down at our fueling station on 3rd North. We did receive 2 bids. The low bid came from Lipke Oil and Trucking for 9 cents per gallon of diesel fuel and 9 cents per gallon of unleaded gasoline, over and above the cost of the fuel. And the other bid that came in was from Central United Co-op, and they were at 15 cents over for both unleaded and diesel. So we are recommending that we go with Lipke Oil at 9 cents.
I'll make the motion to accept the bid to supply bulk diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline to the city of New Ulm, New Ulm Public Utilities, the Police Department, and the Fire Department to Lipke Oil and Trucking LLC, one of 2 bidders for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029, for cost plus 9 cents per gallon of diesel fuel and 9 cents per gallon of unleaded gasoline.
I'll second them.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is our chemical feed process change. Paul.
Good afternoon, commissioners. So before you, we're asking for approval and authorization for the water department to change the finished water, the disinfection process, moving away from on-site chlorine generation to a 12.5% bulk solution delivered by a chemical vendor. And this is all pending process plan approval by the Minnesota Department of Health. So currently, we are utilizing a on-site generation system that is approximately 6 years old. It's become very problematic. It's leaking quite constantly. There are other issues with it, as explained in the memo here. It is kind of the main factor is that one of our storage tanks has sprung a leak. To replace that storage tank is a significant amount of money to continue with that same process. And then we would have the additional expenses associated with repairing and bringing this system back up into a usable condition again. So we're choosing or electing to move away from that generator and go to a much more simple process by having the chemical supplied by a chemical provider, and it'll come in on a bulk truck. We'll be able to store less amount of chemical, and then we'll just, pump it from there. So
So it's only 6 years old? Wow. We didn't get much time out of that one.
Mm-mm.
So when will we hear from the Department of Health if it's okay? Is it pending approval from them?
right, they'll need to approve the process. We did have our engineer look over the plans, and we are submitting them today. So it should only take a couple of weeks for them to review it and look at it. So.
I will entertain a motion if there's,
I'll make the motion to approve and authorize the Water Department to change the finished water disinfection CL2 process, moving away from on-site CL2 generation to a 12.5% solution stored on-site, delivered in bulk quantities by chemical vendor, pending process plan approval by the Minnesota Department of Health.
I'll second that.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? I did have one question. How often will it be delivered?
It's probably going to be about every 2 weeks.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
a
so
free-
there's a shelf life on the chemical, so we don't want to have it stored for more than 45 days. It will start to lose strength, so that's why our storage is going to be much smaller.
Got it. All right, if there's no other questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is Dan, the switchgear.
Yeah, this is the switchgear for the wastewater treatment plant. I don't know if you recall, but we went out and asked for design approval for switchgear package A in January. And then as we got into the design, about July, we brought it to you in July, we wanted to add switchgears B and C. So basically, it's about 3/4 or a little more of the switchgear out at the wastewater now is being replaced with this. Now we've went out for bid and have the complete package back. We're going with Viking. The existing switchgear, like everything at the wastewater plant, is more than 50 years old, beyond its useful life. We have upsized this switchgear to accommodate a generator in the future. And we put in everything to 3,000 amps, so it's ready for the blower project, which has been identified as a significant need in the condition assessment for the wastewater plant. And oddly enough, we're going to get it sooner than we figured. We thought it would take a year, and the delivery is now 41 to 43 weeks, so it's getting better, actually.
Yeah.
I call that significantly better, but maybe I'm used to it being longer, not shorter. Any other questions I can help with?
Did you say this replaces the rest of it?
There will be some smaller switchgear that still is out there. We have a switchgear D identified. and some smaller panels. But this is the bulk of it. This will be the significant electrical package for the wastewater plant. The next one will be significantly smaller.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to accept the bid from Viking Electric for the wastewater treatment plant motor control center replacement switchgear equipment in the amount of $492,572.10.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the 69 kV breaker.
Yeah, this is the fifth of 5 breakers that were identified several years ago of oil-filled breakers that we're switching out to SF6 gas that are on our transmission side, so they're 69 kVA breakers. This breaker has been awarded, or as part of a grant package we received from Minnesota Grid Resiliency. We couldn't do anything on it until we were awarded the grant, but they want it all done within a year and a half, so it's, if you look at the lead time, we're going to be running when that thing shows up to hurry up and get it done. But there is a little bit of a grace period, and they will let us manage it if we have to. But like I say, we couldn't do anything sooner. The grant is for $100,000. The breaker came in with a 5-year warranty at $96,000. So basically, we will end up paying for the install, and we may try to get the install done at the same time we do the transformer, which is on order, which will be coming later next year. So we only see one outage on the substation tied to the generator. So it's kind of will work. If everything works, it'll work out really good. It'll be a good project.
Is it transformers the same age as the breaker?
The transformer was, about the same age. Actually, the transformer was a little bit older. They had reused an older transformer. The transformer was 65 years old, if I remember right.
Good Lord. Okay.
We got our money out of the transformer. Don't worry.
All right. I'll take a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to accept the quote from GE Grid Solutions LLC in the amount of $96,215 for 169 kV breaker.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have Chris, natural gas supply.
Yes, Commissioners, this is an opportunity being offered to the New Ulm Public Utilities. It's a natural gas prepay opportunity, and it's through Community Energy. So basically what this does, is an opportunity that involves private investors to sell municipal bonds for natural gas, and then to take advantage of the spread between the tax-exempt bonding and the taxable bonding. And so there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that doesn't necessarily affect the utility at all. Those are all contracts that need to be made with Minnesota Community Energy. As a utility, what we are buying is a natural gas supply. And so what this does is it's a long-term contract. It's to supply New Ulm with agreed-upon daily volume, and I believe the volume that we are putting into this is 750 MMBTUs in the winter months, the 5 winter months, and 200 MMBTUs in the summer months. And what we're asking for is a minimum discount of 32 cents, 36 cents before the administrative fee, and the administrative fee would be paid to Minnesota Community Energy for everything that they are doing. Just as a point of reference, and I don't know if any one of you was on, were you on? Okay. This would be the second one that we would be doing. The first one was actually done with the Minnesota Municipal Gas Association. That they have changed their name to Minnesota Community Energy because the legislature has now allowed prepaid electric prepays also, and so They changed their name to be more encompassing, but it's with the same organization. The difference between that one and this one is it's a higher discount. The minimum is 32 cents. The other one was 27, but I believe when they sold the bonds, we actually got a 29-cent discount. Owatonna, Hutchinson, Centennial, and Hibbing municipals are all involved in this prepay as well. And so they're all asking their commissioners for approval of it as well. We had Peter Scanlon from a attorney's office out of Washington, D.C., take a look at all of these prepaid documents. He's very familiar with them. He looked at the first one that we did as well, and all of the issues that he had with the contracts have been either modified or he's agreed to them. He understands them. So he looked at not only the natural gas supply agreement, but he did actually go into the agreements that they have between J.P. Morgan and MCE, and then also there's a trust that is also going to hold the money in a trust during this time frame. So with this one, the other difference with this one as opposed to the last one is the last one, BP, British Petroleum was our supplier. With this one, we can choose our supplier. So we have a contract with Connect Energy. We will be able to go through Connect Energy to put, to use them as our natural gas supplier, which is good. The previous one, the savings from that prepay was estimated to be $2.5 million over 30 years. We're looking at savings of this one to be, I have it in here somewhere, 1.5 million, I believe it is, over the 30-year period. So if you have any other questions, I can try to answer them. This whole agreement doesn't act much differently than what we do now. We'll put our, we're working with Connect. They're aware of the other prepay. They work with us on that. The only difference between the two is we get one bill for natural gas from Connect. We get one bill from MCA, and then if you approve this, then we would get a second bill from MCE on this particular transaction. I do want to clarify, I am not asking for approval on this as I don't have the final contracts. I am just want you to receive an order, file this. The intention is it would be at the December meeting. So, if you have any questions, you can ask them at that time too. But at that meeting, then I will bring the finalized contracts, and then contracts probably would be signed to go out for into the bonding process in January, February. It's a $250 million bond. With all of the participants. So, Owatonna, Hutchinson, Centennial, Hibbing, us, we are the municipals that are in it. Missouri River, I understand, is maybe thinking about it. And then there's some other gas, either generators or suppliers in some other states that are joining this as well.
So what's the risk?
There's not much of a risk to us. If something were to happen, one of the risks for us would be we may have to pay the administrative fee on some gas that we may not get. But if we're not going to get the gas, there's a problem with the whole deal. And what happens is there's mechanisms within these contracts that are with MCE and the J.P. Morgan, that if certain things happen, basically the contract just folds. It just folds on itself and it's over, it's done. The risk, and it's not really a risk for us, we just wouldn't get the discount.
So then you'd pay market.
So we'd pay market price. Yes.
So this whole proposal is based off market price with a discount.
It's based on index.
Index.
Index price, so first of the month. It could be daily gas, or it could be hedged gas, where we go out and get a fixed price. We can put all of those types of financial transactions in this.
And we would still do
discounts.
that, right? Like
We would.
normal, it's
Yep.
just this would,
So basically, what this is going to allow us to do is get first of the month gas, or index gas, and they'll take 32 cents off the top. And that's what's happening now. We buy, under the other contract, we have a hedge or a fixed price where we are buying 500 a day at $2.77, which I wish we could get way more of, but, so, you know, we get a invoice, that says 277 with 29 cents off. And then we also have, index gas, first of the month gas, and then they take the 27 cents off of that as well.
sure. And that's a percentage of our total usage.
It's a
And
percentage.
this
We're
would
not putting
be
all.
another percentage.
Yeah, we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. We've got, that other contract, I believe, we've got 500 in a fixed, and we've got 750 on the 2 shoulder months and 1,400 in the winter months. So, and then this would be an additional, in addition to that. I think, yeah, and we still have other gas that's sitting outside the contract that we can do other things with. And you don't necessarily want to put all your eggs in just one transaction, because there could be another transaction that comes in the future that's even better. So, you know, we had 27 cents, now this time we're up to 32 cents, so.
Right.
Are both contracts being repriced at 5 to 7 years? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, both
So-
of them reprice at, you know, and there is one other difference between this one and the other one. This one, if you reprice at the, let's say, year 7, and you don't get your discount, what happens is then you just kind of fall out of the contract until the next repricing. The other one, you could choose to get out of the contract all the way. But in all reality, if it reprices, let's say your repricing minimum discount that you're repricing at is 23 cents, but they're only going to give you 20 cents, that's still 20 cents discount. If you don't participate, then you're paying full index price,
Right. Unless you find a better agreement.
unless you find a better agreement. Right. So,
Do these come around very often, these agreements like this? I mean, I know we did one 5 years ago.
I tell you, the
but-
first one we worked about 15 years on to get,
Oh.
because it was right at the time that, that Florida company folded. It was in 2008 when everything just kind of collapsed. But this one we've been working on probably for about 9 months.
Oh.
Yeah. It's whenever they can get enough load to get people, you know, because
They want a big buy.
you want big money, yeah. You want about a $250 to $3 million deal in order to get this through.
Got it.
Yep.
All right, I'll take a motion if there's no further discussion on that.
We
I'll make the-
never had one problem with the first one, right?
We have not had any
No.
problems. It just flows very nicely. Yep.
Year 3 of that?
I'll make the motion to receive and order filed information regarding a proposed natural gas prepay opportunity through the Minnesota Community Energy.
I'll second.
No, second.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last item on our agenda is a report of claims.
I'll make the motion to accept list of claims paid in the amount of $3,006,321.65.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last up, does anybody have any additional comments before we adjourn? Not, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.